I would ask you this, though, and I asked this question because we played a clip of Daryl Rotter who said he has zero confidence in Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski identifying, the quarterback moving forward. Who do you feel more confident with? Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski finding a quarterback and developing him, or Jimmy Haslam finding a general manager and a head coach?
Oh, that's a good question, honestly.
Thought you'd like that one.
And listen, you kind of stumped me with this one, Dave, for sure. No, listen, the question on Berry and Stefanski and if you trust them to identify the quarterback, I do think, like, going into this year, there was at least this back of your mind idea or concept that, hey, maybe if you let Kevin have more say in this stuff, they will identify a good quarterback, right? Because to this point, you had Baker when you got here. That didn't work out for the reasons that we know. You trade for Deshaun Watson. They leaned into that heavily. Whose decision that ultimately was, if we did like a pie chart, we may never find out who had more say in that decision. Who knows? But like, maybe if Kevin didn't have as much say in that and it was kind of forced on him, okay, well, this was supposed to be the year that he was heavily involved in this process. We saw him go into pro days. We saw him making the rounds. He was traveling around, actually meeting with these guys and like trying to evaluate the quarterbacks. And the guy that they picked is Dylan Gabriel. There's some forgiveness, not forgiveness, but there's some grace and understanding that he's a third round pick. So what are you really going to get from a third round pick anyway? But that's the guy that they sort of tied themselves to, at least for this year, and said, we're going to see what we can do with this guy. We think he's got a supercomputer brain, and the results just haven't been there. So, like, if there was any thought that maybe they just haven't, given Stefanski a chance to pick and develop his quarterback, I think that's starting to lose any hope as well this season, because the guy that you drafted has not really developed much to this point through 4 games. I know it's just 4 games. I think it's fair to give Dylan a little more time before we say throwing the towel on him completely, because 4 games for any quarterback is not a big sample size just yet. But if he gets to the end of the season and you haven't seen some progress there, even as a third round pick, you'd expect to see some. I think there's going to be more questions about that specific question you're asking me, about whether or not you trust these guys to draft and develop that quarterback. I guess my answer would have to be, I guess I trust Jimmy Haslam more to identify a coach and GM, because it certainly felt like he got it right with Kevin and Andrew Berry in the beginning. But I'd hope that would be the case. But I think both those things certainly have left a lot of doubts in people's minds that either can that Jimmy Haslam can identify the right coach and GM to run this team effectively, and that Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski are the right people to identify those crucial positions that you obviously laid out multiple times during this episode today, that they need to fix this offense and this team.